we are all here. So hi, everybody. My name is Danniell Nadiv, and I represent the Jewish Federation of Greater Atlanta. I'm so grateful to be here with all of you. Our panel is known as Pursuing Justice and Belonging in Our Community. That phrase belonging was mentioned during the stage. I hope you all had a chance to listen on the main stage. It's a new addition to a word here, so that's definitely something that we're going to focus on. I'm very grateful to all of you. Unfortunately, Lily Brent from Repair the World was unable to join us, but we have a great panel of strong women, which is really exciting for me to be a part of an all-female, I should say an all-female identifying panel. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to ask each of you to unmute yourselves, and I'll call on you one by one. I loved the last question that Rabbi Josh posed to his panel, asking about what is the desired legacy of your organization. So if we can go through, I'm just going to go as I see you all on my screen. So Joanna, you are up first.
Great. Well, I would say, so I'm representing the Jewish Climate Action Network of Georgia, also Georgia Interfaith Power and Light. My legacy, or the legacy of the group that I represent, would be for all Jews in this community to really identify environmental stewardship as a Jewish value and to really practice that, to really work towards being more mindful of our connection with the earth, the impact that we have, and just remembering who we are as Jews. We are people of the land. We are humble and grateful, and we have to use our voice to do the right thing.
Beautiful. Thank you. Annie.
Hi, my name is Annie Garrett. I'm the manager of the Jewish Abilities Alliance, and we work to support and equip our Jewish community, and including people with disabilities in all aspects of Jewish life. And the legacy, I think we would hope it would be that, that our community includes people with disabilities and the variety and the wide diversity of Jewish life at all levels. So in leadership roles, in all communal roles, and both in those formal and informal spaces where there's a place for every person, no matter their ability, at the table or as part of the conversation or as part of the decision-making process.
Perfect. Thank you. Dr. Tarece.
Yes, my legacy is really the pursuit of justice. And I believe that when we pursue justice and when people experience justice, only in the space and the place of the repairing can they really feel like they belong. And so for me, the justice work is very, very important, is paramount. And I think we need to go beyond just diversity, equity, and inclusion and look at justice, belonging, and liberation. And what does it mean? We have to understand that the work of justice is important in order for people to know that they belong. Then when you know that you belong, only then do you experience liberation, being who you are and how you are. And I think that's so very important. So the legacy for me is the work of justice. And then the next space is the next space of that is belonging. So, yeah.
Right. Perfect. So you stole my second question, which is going to be, what does justice mean? But I just saw a note and it says, please leave one visual space for an ASL interpreter. I think we are okay. I think we have up to 9. So we know our interpreter isn't here yet, but hopefully whenever they come. And I apologize if there is anybody who's viewing this right now that needs an interpreter and is unable to join us. Okay, perfect. Sherry, would you like to introduce yourself and what the desired legacy of your organization is?
Yes, I represent the National Council of Jewish Women, and for over 127 years, we have been a group dedicated to educating our members to advocacy and direct community service. And I feel we live out our commitment to repair the world, to foster tikkun olam, by advocating for women, children, and families, to seek justice for them, for quality of life and emergency needs for them. We advocate for social justice in a way to make sure that we can secure our democracy with freedom for all and equal rights and safety. And I feel in so much, a part of what we do is include folks of all backgrounds in our community and all ages. And in being out in the community, meeting Jewish needs and non-Jewish needs, we really in many ways are also breaking down barriers of anti-Semitism or people who just don't know Jews. And so part of our diversity and inclusion is partnering with very diverse groups in the community. And, just as an example, I reach out to resettlement groups working with Afghans and the Islamic community and preparing us to understand the culture of Afghans. So there are many examples like that, working in voting rights, to work with folks in various community agencies, and certainly in working with abortion access. We're working with folks in all races and ethnicities, and lifting up the Jewish value on life and access to abortion.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sherry. Last but not least, Erin.
Hi, I'm Erin Stieglitz, and I am the founder and chief rescue officer of Bagel Rescue. Bagel Rescue is a program that picks up bagels, leftover bagels at bakeries, and we take them to feeding programs around Metro Atlanta. So our mission is to reduce food waste and support hunger relief. And I would say, as a legacy, food is a most basic need. It is a universal need, no matter what culture or race or ethnicity or religious background, everybody has to eat. It is universal and it's unifying. And I discovered that it just, when there's waste and there's hunger, it just takes somebody to connect the pieces. And so I hope the legacy of Bagel Rescue is that people act as that connector for whatever it is they're passionate about. For me, it's an environmental cause and it's hunger relief, but whatever it may be to you, act as that connector.
Great. And full disclosure, my family and I did participate in Bagel Rescue over the weekend. And when I explained it to my friend, I said, it's the most Jewish food program I can think of. Which actually, what I really appreciate about this panel, and what I appreciate about Judaism in general, is that there are so many different avenues that you can connect through Judaism. There are so many different things that feed our soul and that help us pursue meaningful work. So when thinking about the work that you're doing, what has surprised you in the work that you've done lately? How have you thought that how have you recognized that the areas that you engage the community in have really broadened somebody's horizon or have gone in a surprising direction? I'm going to open it up to the panel. So whoever feels like speaking first, you're welcome to. Sherry, raising your hand. Great.
Yeah, I would say there are a few surprises. I mean, one for me is just so how many people are coming to the table at the National Council of Jewish Women to work. And one immediate example of working with an agency, we're working with New American Pathways to help resettle Afghans. And we had developed welcome baskets for them and are waiting to actually begin to adopt families, as we did during the during the huge number in the 70s and 80s of Russian Jews coming to Atlanta. But we got a quick SOS call to say they're just overloaded with so many Afghans coming to town. Could we quickly get some women to help grocery shop and deliver food? And we sent out, an e-blast, and overnight 12 people said, count on me. So part of the surprise is just how quickly volunteers in the Jewish community really want to meet the needs, how we really live this sense of tikkun olam. And I'm so proud that NCJW is one of the many fabulous organizations in our community that meets that need. So the surprise is how much people want to work and how receptive agencies outside of the Jewish community are for our help.
Great, thank you.
Awesome.
And I'll add to that. Oh,
I want to follow up with what, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Dr. Tarece.
Oh, okay. I want to follow up with Sherry Frank. Sherry, I so admire her and the work she does with JCRC, the Jewish Community Relations Council. I'm also a proud member of the Jewish Community Relations Council. I'm on the board, and I am really dedicated to and supportive of the work of JCRC Atlanta and the leadership of Leslie. And I wanted to share that. But part of the surprise that I've experienced around this work of justice and belonging is the opportunity for our Jewish community to truly embrace Jews of color in the South. And the challenges, I'm a public official, I'm a public servant, I'm an elected person, and I endure so much hate because I'm a Black woman. I'm a proud Jewish woman as well, and I'm very open about advocating for the Jewish community, and I'm a very strong advocate against anti-racism and against anti-Semitism. And I know that for some people it makes them feel uncomfortable, and I know for some people there is fear around not understanding. And when you don't understand, you tend to create a story around how you are afraid to get to know people, or how you're afraid to really connect with people. And so for me, I think, the surprise has been not getting the support that I feel like I should get as a Jew of color, as a Jewish person. And I can say that because you will see John Ossoff, who I know is a federal person. I'm very local. He's state, and he, a federal elected position. He gets support from the Jewish community. And I, as a Black Jewish woman who is enduring a lot of hate, and some of it's racism, and some of it's anti-Semitism, and some of it's just gender, and some of it's just hate, period, because I'm liberal and I'm a Democrat, and all of this, and I have no support from the Jewish community when Ossoff did. And so for me, it's like, that's a surprise. Like, wow, like I'm hit with the reality of the ADL not supporting me as an elected official, as a Jewish person. So do they not see me in my humanity? Do they not see me in my Jewishness? And then I hear the stories of other Black and brown Jews in Atlanta, and we share the same common experience around really not feeling like we belong, and not feeling like people see us as Jews. And we always get questions, and we get challenges, and we get people who don't include us in programs and leadership positions and organizing. And so all of that is surprising to me, because for me, the history of the Jewish community is a history of oppression and suppression, and for us to then in our own Jewish community treat Jews who are non-white differently, it's surprising and it's hurtful.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I know it's something, one of the things that we are hoping to come out of this evening is to help create more tools for conversations and to hear stories and truly see people. And I know it's, well, I don't know, but I can imagine it's been a fight for probably your whole life, and it is probably exhausting, but I am so appreciative of you here and telling your story, so that we can continue to work to create more justice and more belonging within our community. Absolutely. Annie, I believe that you were going to say something about the Jewish Abilities Alliance.
Well, I probably lost my train of thought from there, but I could pick up now. I just wanted to say, building or kind of on that same train of thought about something that has surprised me in this work is learning, especially as of recently, how much we who are working in this space can learn from each other. That's something that the Jewish Abilities Alliance is just starting to explore, how we can partner and collaborate with others working in JEDI work tonight, and how we can learn from the success of others, the challenges that others are facing, and collaborate better. We're still exploring this, and see a lot of potential for it. But that's just something I've learned recently, and was particularly excited to be a part of tonight's event to learn from you guys, but connect and share and hear about others' experiences.
Great.
I'll go next. Lots of surprises. I'm gonna just pick 3, and one of them's a little dark, but I'll start with the dark one. The dark one has really been surprised at how overwhelming and isolating and crushing it can feel when you think of how helpless one person is who wants to make change, who wants to do something for the climate. You know, you put your aluminum can in the recycling bin and you're thinking, is this really doing anything? You know, and you feel like your actions aren't enough. So that's sort of one surprise, is how you can almost feel the weight on your shoulders. But my second surprise is I've learned how many people not just feel this way, but want to do something and are mobilizing. And there's Jewish organizations around the country who are doing this, and really in very big, expansive ways. And so that's very inspiring. I've learned of all kinds of groups out there. And the third one is really about justice, that we really can't have environmental justice until we really address social justice. So that really means people who are, you know, often low income, marginalized, minority populations are living in low valued land. They're next to toxic waste sites. So like our power plants are dumping coal ash next to these neighborhoods. They have dirty soil, dirty water, and that's not right. And so that is an injustice to those people. So I feel empowered that, you know, we as Jews, that's not okay. You know, we have been shown grace in the past, and we need to help those who can't help themselves and use our voice and represent these people to say, it's not okay, Georgia Power, don't dump your coal ash in these neighborhoods. So that's kind of a, maybe not a surprise, but sort of a realized sense of importance that we really have to talk about social justice and environmental justice.
Yeah, and I know it's something too, for all of these, it's really about how can you have the conversation often, early and often. And I know, so my family, we enjoy spending a lot of time outdoors, and my partner, I learn from him every day, but whenever we go for a hike, he brings a bag and has a race to see who can fill up the bag first with trash. And my son recently started to do it when he was at his playground. He came home today very excited. He said, Mama, look, I found all these pine cones and I found a candy wrapper. And he's 3 years old and already living that mission. And it was really beautiful to see. And I think especially in terms of, you know, repairing the world and taking care of the earth, that's something so physical and tangible that we are able to teach at a young age, going out and helping somebody. Erin, I'm going to get to you just right next, but physically being able to pick up those bagels and then drop them off and see immediately feeding hungry people, those lessons I think come much more naturally. And what's beautiful about this night is that we are working through easier topics and hard topics and finding ways to pivot the conversation, to let other voices rise that have previously been marginalized, and to find space for justice and for belonging throughout. So Erin, I'll let you, once again, last but not least,
It's fine.
you go first in the next one.
Well, Joanna, I feel your pain because I lie awake at night and think about all the bagels that I didn't rescue. And it makes me sad because they end up in landfills. But I think, and it is utterly surprising how many bagels are wasted or were wasted prior to Bagel Rescue coming to take them away. But I will say, I think that my most surprising, the most surprising things that I have learned are actually super positive. Danniell, I know you feel like this is a really Jewish thing to do, but to me, it is amazing how many non-Jewish people are so appreciative for the bite of dignity that a bagel gives them. And I have refugee kids that love their packages of bagels. I have AME churches all over the city that adore getting bagels once a week at their food distribution. I go to churches in my neighborhood, churches in Tucker and Cumming. I go to JF&CS. We're everywhere. We're all over the city, and people adore bagels. And the minimum wage workers at bagel shops, they are so into the program. They can't wait to help me lift the bags into my car because they're delighted that they don't have to throw away the bagels. I like to say that instead of filling landfills, we're filling bellies. And so what has been so surprising to me is all of the people who are willing to help fill the bellies and be a part of it and happily feed our neighbors.
Right. So there's a lot of powerful opportunity here. I mean, I'm seeing even a natural pairing between the work that NCJW does and Bagel Rescue. Is there anybody on the panel that's new to you? Is there opportunity, and this is open to you all, are there partnerships that you would like to engage in, or even throughout the whole evening? Have you met someone or seen something and thought, I want to be plugged into that, and I'm excited about this work?
I will start.
Perfect, Erin, go first.
So I know Lily's not here, but I recently did a project for MLK Weekend with Repair the World, and it really inspired me to make more community connections. The program was, we had 25 volunteers go around the city on a Saturday, pick up bagels. We rescued 900 pounds of bagels in one day. We packaged them and took them back out into the community to feeding programs. And so then I started thinking, how can I make more community connections like that? And I've already started implementing that. But I would love to do that with some of the organizations, that are represented on the panel. Joanna, I think that we have our goals are aligned. And Sherry, I would love to provide bagels to refugee families that you're supporting. So maybe there's some connections that we can make there.
We also worked with, first of all, Lily Brent's on our board. And so that's another example of reaching out. We wanted to reach out to someone young, somebody working in the community. And one of our co-presidents, Stacey Hayter Epstein, did a project for MLK a day where she prepared period hygiene women's hygiene products for homeless women. And we're thinking we really want to do that on a larger scale year round. So the networking is interesting. Personally, I'm also so interested in environment. I can't stand if a piece of paper isn't recycled. And I just was thinking, we have a bin in our office, it's a little tiny trash can for people to put their bottles in when we have meetings. But I was thinking, I wish it had a Jewish name, label on it, so people would think not only are we saving the earth, but we're doing a Jewish thing. So it just might be something to think about, creating that all the Jewish agencies that have recycle bins have some kind of logo on it that says something about, this is a Jewish value and there's a Jewish agency doing this work. So that was just kind of a collaborative thought. And just finally, we have a fundraiser called Women Who Dare, celebrating our sheroes, and it really speaks to our values. And we're very excited this year that the Rebecca Staple Wax with Sojourns is going to be one of our honorees. And part of the reason, among other reasons, is we know the horrible legislation that's going to be raised about transgender issues. And, in our social justice commitment to women, children, and families, we're concerned about that. We want to partner more with Sojourns. So, that's an example of kind of diversity within the Jewish community.
Sherry, I will totally put logos on all your recycling bins. I think that'd be a great collaboration. And I do think there is a Jewish act of not wasting and just being mindful of everything that we have is from the earth. I mean, every prayer that we say in Hebrew, you're saying this is an apple that came from a tree. We're constantly acknowledging where it comes from. So let's, be more intentional. But yeah, I think that'd be great. I'd love for Jewish spaces to have environmental awareness.
Yeah, I think
it's Joanna, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, just like we have a mezuzah on our door for when we walk into a space, so too should we have some sort of symbol for when we dispose of something. And we do, I'll give you your one last final thought, but I just got a note that the event closing is happening on the main stage right now. So some people might pop off to go onto the main stage. But I'll let everybody have one final thought if they would like.
I'd like to share my final thought, listening to Joanna and Sherry, around environmentalism and really appreciating our connection to the earth. And one of the most beautiful things about Judaism is our consciousness around connecting to trees, connecting to fruit, connecting to the ground, and really being spiritually grounded in experiencing nature in a way that, my Shabbat is beautiful because my Shabbat is walking in a park or hiking and meditating and feeling the wind on my hair and feeling the sun on my skin and seeing green or seeing multiple colors of different things in the fall, right? Depends on the season, or seeing branches if it's in the winter. The point is, it's really connecting with nature and the spirituality that Judaism gives us. I think sometimes people don't realize that, we celebrate trees, we just had the celebration of Tu B'Shavat, and it was like, a beautiful recognition of the environment and how can we be stewards of the earth? How do we give back to nature that gives to us? And that's the gratitude and the praise and the beauty that we get, because we are fed spiritually in our Judaism from nature. We are fed from Hashem. And what Hashem, what she gives us. And so it's beautiful. So yeah. So thank you, Joanna and Sherry and all of you all for the work you do. And Erin, the bagel, my daughter eats bagel every morning. In fact, actually, I have to say this. She's doing the confirmation process right now at Temple Sinai. So she's going to New York City for the weekend for her confirmation trip. So that's really exciting. But yeah, so she had her bat mitzvah a few years ago, and how time flies. Now she's in the process of confirmation. So it's really kept crazy. But my daughter eats bagels every morning. We love bagels. You know, and I like the works. Okay, I like my capers and my onions, and anyway.
Well,
Thank you, Erin,
you
for
can come-
connecting that. Okay, Erin,
Come ride in my car. My
Okay,
car smells
I-
like an everything bagel.
okay, Erin.
That car smells like an everything bagel too.
Everything bagel is my absolute favorite. Okay, we have
Yeah.
to connect.
I'm anxious for us
Let's
to
do a
go to
bagel
the,
party, Erin. All right, I'm done. That's my final comment.
I'm anxious for us to go to the final stage. I want to say that part of the diversity you'll see in this week's Jewish Times, over 40 rabbis across the community have signed on to Rabbis for Repro and Rabbis and Repro Shabbat. And this Shabbat in every synagogue, they'll be dealing with the Torah portion that deals with reproductive justice from a Jewish perspective. So Shabbat Shalom. And another piece of the diversity is the rabbis that have signed that ad. You'll find it in the Jewish Times. And I want to go to the final stage.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you all so much. I know we could talk forever, but please head over to the final stage. Thank you. Have a great
all.
night.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye, Sherry. Bye, Erin. Bye,
Thank you.
Joanna. Bye, Annie.
Thank
Dannielle.
you.
Shabbat Shalom. Well, for tomorrow, but it's fine. Bye.
Never too early,
I
right?
know, right?
Bye.
Okay, head over to the stage.